Hello, welcome back to our SFRMA YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about the integumentary system. The contents are introduction, functions of skin, structures of skin, hair, structure of hair, functions of hair, nails and the structure of nails. So, introduction to integumentary system. The skin, which is the largest organ of our human body, and the accessory structures which including the skin are the hair, nails, sebaceous glands and the sudoriferous. This skin layer is composed of the three layers, that is the first one is the epidermis, second one is the dermis and the third one is the subcutaneous tissues or the fat. Epi means that is the above or outer layer, whereas sub means below the dermis layer. The impulses from the skin are interpreted in the parietal lobe of our brain. The integument or the skin, which is the largest system of the body, that is 60% of body weight is of our skin, and 1.5 to 2 meter square in area is of skin. The integument comprises of two parts, that is the cutaneous membrane and the accessory structures. Cutaneous membrane, epidermis and the dermis layer, whereas in accessory structures, hair, nails and the exocrine glands. So let's see what are the functions of integumentary system. The functions are like protection, absorption, regulation, secretion and the sensation. Let's see one by one. First, the protection function. As the intact skin, it serves as a protective barrier of our body to our body. As a protective barrier, it feels or it serves as first line of defense against various bacteria, viruses. So here in this figure they have shown the normal skin, whereas the disrupted skins, and these are some of the viruses, bacteria, toxins. In this normal skin there is a protective barrier of a skin where this viruses, bacteria does not enter our skin, whereas in disrupted skin this viruses, bacteria may enter the skin. Next, that is, it protects the underlying structures from the UV radiations. It also prevents the dehydration to the skin, and also it is functioned in the vitamin D production, which is needed for calcium absorption. Next function, that is the absorption. The skin is the route by which substances can enter our body. The transdermal absorption can administer medications such as motion sickness medications and the hormonal therapies. The skin, the function of skin is the absorption. The medicines can be applied on the skin, from which these medicines can be absorbed into our skin. Medication lotions applied to the skin for quick absorption and the surface treatment. The transdermal patches and the medication pastes have time release properties that allow medications to be absorbed through the skin at a slower process rate. These transdermal patches or medications which are absorbed or which are applied on the skin has a time release properties, means through a specific time slowly this medicines or this treatment is absorbed into our skin. Next, regulation, that is first the body temperature regulation. If our body is too hot, the dermal blood vessels dilate and vessels carry more blood to the surface, so heat can escape through our body. Next, if our body is too cold, the dermal blood vessels constrict and hence it prevents the heat from escaping our body. And the second regulation, that is the excretion. The small amounts of waste products are lost through perspiration, which means perspiration means the sweating. Through sweating, small waste products can be excreted through our skin. Next function, that is the secretion. The skin contains of millions of sudoriferous glands that produce the sweat and the sebaceous glands that produce the oil for the skin lubrication function. The perspiration is a mixture of salt and water with other chemical compounds. Perspiration is also known as the sweating. The sweat or perspiration, it is a mixture of salt and water and also some other chemical compounds. Accumulated sweat produces body odor and also the accumulation of the bacteria. The sebaceous glands produces the sebum, which protects the body from getting dehydration. Next function, that is the sensation. As our skin has millions of microscopic nerve endings, these microscopic nerve endings act as a sensory receptors, and these sensory reactions or these sensory receptors includes responses such as pressure, traction, heat, cold, pain, and other sensations. Traction means pulling sensation. Nerve endings send information to the brain for the appropriate response to sensation. Whatever sensory receptors have got an impulse through the skin, it is further sent to the brain for the appropriate response to that sensation. The integumentary and the nervous systems work together for the function of a sensation. Whatever sensation the skin occupies or impulses the skin get, this integumentary system, skin and the nervous system, that is the brain, this skin and brain work together for the function of the sensation. Next we are going to discuss the structure of skin. There are three parts, that is the epidermis, which consists the epithelial tissue, dermis, which consists the dense connective tissue, hypodermis or subcutaneous tissues, which contains the loose connective tissue. Here you can see this is the epidermis layer, this is the dermis level, and the last layer is called as the subcutaneous tissue. Next, what is epidermis? It is a vascular stratified squamous epithelium. The nutrients and the oxygens diffuse from the capillaries in the dermis. So the nutrients and oxygen, whatever which is necessary for the epidermis, that oxygen nutrient is diffused from the capillaries and supplied to the epidermis parts. The cells of epidermis are called as keratinocytes. This epidermis contains large amount of keratin and are the most abundant cells in the epidermis, that is the keratinocytes. So the skin is epidermis is consist of thin skin and thick skin. Thin skin which covers most of the body and has 4 layers of keratinocytes, whereas thick skin which is covers our palms of the hands and soles of the feet and has 5 layers of the keratinocytes. Next, structure of epidermis. This epidermis is further divided into 5 stratas. The 5 strata of keratinocyte in thick skin, that is from basal lamina to this free surface. It consists of stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum basili. Here you can see the layers of epidermis. This is the epidermis, dermis and the hypodermis part, and in this epidermis it is further divided into 5 types, that is stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, spinosum and the basilae. First, that is the stratum basilae. It is attached to the basement membrane by the hemidesmosum junctions, and it forms a strong bond between the epidermis and dermis. This stratum basilae forms the epidermal ridges. For example, that is the fingerprints. It forms the epidermal ridges which shows our fingerprints. It is the lowermost layer of epidermis. This stratum basilae, here you can see, it is the lowermost layer of the epidermis. It is the single cell layer and also thick in nature. It consists of cells that only get adequate nutrition and oxygen by diffusion from tissues below, that is, it gets the nutrients and oxygen from the dermis layer. These are the actively dividing cells. These stratum basilae cells are the actively dividing, and this stratum basilae are bordered below by the basement membrane. Next, that is the stratum spinosum, which is also known as the spiny layer, produced by the division of the earlier layer, that is the stratum basilae. 8 to 10 layers of keratinocytes are bound by the desmosum junction. The cell shrinks until the cytoskeletons of the cell sticks out and forms the spiny structure. The cells continue to divide, increasing the thickness of the epithelium layer. This stratum spinosum, it also contains the dendritic cells which are active in the immune responses. Next, the stratum granulosum, it is also known as the granny layer. 3 to 5 layers of keratinocytes, 3 to 5 rows of the flattened keratinocytes in which organelles are beginning to degenerate. Cells contain the keratohyalin, which converts the tonofilaments into the keratin, and the lamellar granules, which release the lipid-rich and water-repellent secretions. Stratum lucidum. These are present only in the skin of fingertips, palms, and the soles. This stratum lucidum layer consists of 3 to 5 rows of clear, flat, and dead keratinocytes with large number of keratin. Next, the stratum corneum, that is the horn layer. It is exposed surface of our skin, 15 to 30 layers of keratinized cells. It is water resistant, and this stratum corneum shed and replaced to every 2 weeks. So you can see this various layers, that is the stratum basilae, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and the stratum corneum. Next, that is the dermis, which is located between the epidermis and the dermis layer. The anchors epidermal accessory structure, that is the hair follicles and sweat glands, are the accessory structures of the dermis layer. The two components, that is the outer papillary layer and the deep reticular layer. The dermis consists of two components, that is the outer papillary layer and the deep reticular layer. The papillary layer consists of the areolar tissue with the thin collagen and fine elastic fibers. It also contains smaller capillaries, lymphatics, and the sensory neurons. The papillary layer has the dermal papilla, which projecting between the epidermal ridges. Next, that is the reticular layer. It consists of the dense irregular connective tissue. It contains the large blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and the nerve fibers. This reticular fiber also contains the collagen and elastic fibers and has spaces between fibers containing some adipose cells, hair follicles, nerves, sebaceous glands, and pseudofibrous glands are present. Next, the structural basis of skin color. As we all know, the melanin, hemoglobin, and the carotene, these are the three pigments that impart a wide variety of colors to skin. The most amount of melanin causes our skin color to vary from the pale yellow to reddish and brown to black. Most important pigment for the skin coloration is a melanin pigment. Next, the hypodermis, that is the subcutaneous layer, which lies below the integument and stabilizes the skin, allows the separate movement, which is made up of elastic, areolar, and the adipose tissues, connected to the reticular layer of integument, reticular layer of skin by the connective tissue fibers. Deposits of subcutaneous fats, that is distribution patterns of the fat, are determined by various hormones, and this subcutaneous fat is also reduced by the cosmetic liposuction, that is lipoplasty, that is the surgery through which the fat is removed from our body. Here you can see the various structures of the integumentary system, that is the hair shaft, arrector pili muscle, epidermis, dermis, hypodermis, sweat glands, hair root, sebaceous glands, hair follicles, adipose tissue, sensory nerve fibers. Next, we are going to discuss the hair, that is the structure of hair. The hair follicles are the organs that forms the hairs located deep in the dermis layer. The hair follicle is located in the dermis layer. It produces the non-living hairs, which is wrapped in a dense connective tissue sheet. The base is surrounded by the sensory nerves or root plexus. This base or this root is connected with the sensory nerves. Next, accessory structures of hair. Accessory structures includes the arrector pili muscle, this muscle, which involuntary smooth muscle, which causes the involuntary smooth muscle, causes our hairs to stand up. It also produces the goosebumps on our skin, and the sebaceous glands lubricates the hair. This sebaceous glands lubricates our hair. Next, the structure of hair, the hair root and hair shaft. Hair root, which is the lower part of the hair, which is attached to the integument. Hair shaft, that is the upper part of the hair. hair shaft, which is the upper part of the head, and it is not attached to the integument or not attached to our skin layer. Hair shaft structure, which consists of three parts, that is the medulla, cortex and the cuticle. Medulla, here you can see the medulla, cortex and the cuticle of the hair. Medulla, that is this part, it is a core. Dead cells contain the soft keratin in air to provide the flexibility to air. Cortex, that is the middle layer, which consists of dead cells containing hard keratin to provide the stiffness to our hairs. The cuticle, that is the outermost part overlapping the dead keratinous cells and forms the shiny surface of our hair. Functions of hair: it provides the UV protection, cushion from any trauma, injury, insulation. The hairs from the nostrils, ear canals and eyelashes prevent entry of the foreign material into the nostrils, ear canals. The body hairs, which are important for the sensory detection. Root hair plexus, the sensory nerves at the base of these hair follicles, which detects the slight movement of hair or detects the sensation. The arrector pili muscle, which is attached to every hair follicle, and this arrector pili muscles contracts to stand our hair perpendicular to the skin surface, that is to provide the goosebumps. Next part, that is the nails that protect the fingers and toes of our body, which is made up of dead cells packed with keratin. Metabolic disorders, some metabolic disorders can change our nail structures. Nail body, which is a visible portion of the nail and covers the nail bed. This is the nail bed and it is covered by this nail body. Lanula, that is the pale crescent at the base of the nail. Sides of the nails, which lies in lateral nail grooves and surrounded by the lateral nail folds. Thank you so much. In this way we have completed the integumentary system, that is we have covered the hair structure and functions of hair, nails and the skin. Thank you so much.